Do you ever feel stuck in life? It feels like you just can't move the needle. Well, I got the answer for you, my boy. It's books. Now, yes, today I'm going to be talking about books. I'm going to be talking about how I started reading them. I will tell you my lessons on how to read books, not what I got from books, but how to read books. Because, in my opinion, having the right beliefs about books is just as important as actually reading them. So, this was the first book I ever finished. It's called The Millionaire Fastlane. And I actually got this from Hamza. Back when Hamza was actually good, now he's not good, but back when Hamza was actually good, he really talked about this book. He talked about like this book helping him to build his YouTube business and all that stuff. And back then I used to think that if I buy this book and if I finish this book, I will be a millionaire. That's how I actually thought. So I asked my mom to buy me this book. I'm like, yo, mom, buy me this book. I'm gonna become a millionaire. She bought me this book. I read 30 pages. Nah, even less. I read like 15 pages and I put the book down. That was the first try to read this book. Then I'm like, okay, let me give it another try. I started reading it from the back again. I mean, from the start. 30 pages in, put the book down again. And I was like, you know what? Maybe reading isn't for me. So I didn't pick up another book for like 6 months. I haven't read nothing. But then I remember it was a winter break. I remember I was so bored. I was on social media. I just, where when you watch so many TikToks and so many YouTube videos that it's like the most boring thing you can do. It feels like walking around the house is more entertaining. Well, I was walking around my house and I went to my bookshelf. I have this very small bookshelf in my room. This is not my room, this is my parents' room. And I seen this book, and I'm like, what if I give it another try? And in that winter break, in 2 weeks, I think, I finished this book. And that is when it all started. Like, I became a full-on maniac of reading books, okay? When I finished this book and when I realized how much dopamine I felt from it, it's like, it was like the best feeling ever. I'm not gonna lie. No amount of TikToks, no amount of watching YouTube videos really gave me this dopamine. And I remember I was marking the most basic stuff ever. I marked this part in introduction. That tedium sounds like this. Go to college, get good grades, graduate, get a good job, save 10% of your paycheck, invest in stock market, preferably in a low-cost index fund, max out your 401ks, 401ks, slash your credit cards and clip coupons. Then, someday, when you are 65 years old, you will be rich. This is like the first page of the book. And I remember when I read this part, I got so mad. I'm like, boom. I'm gonna read this book. I'm gonna escape the matrix. I showed this to my mom. She didn't understand it. I remember I felt so misunderstood, but I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I will escape the matrix. But in all actuality, like, this book was very good. When I look back, I was marking the most basic things. But when you actually think about it, like, I was a young guy. Like, these things were fascinating to me. What seems simple right now and what seems like a common knowledge was fascinating. So that is how we grow. But after I read this book, when I told you I became a maniac about books, I actually mean it. And for some people it's normal, but for about 2 to 3 months I was reading one book per week. So I read a lot. In 2 months, I read 8 books. Now, to you, it may seem like that's a very good thing. You read a lot of books. It's great. But let me tell you one thing. That is one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people make. A lot of people think that the more books you read, the smarter you become. Books don't actually make you smarter, in a way. They can make you smarter in a way, but they don't actually make you smarter like you think they make you smart, if that makes sense. Look, what I'm trying to get to, the point of reading books is not to read as many books as possible. Okay, when you read a lot of books, that becomes more of an ego thing. At least for me, I more so read books for the ego. I read a book, it felt very good. I finished the book, I got this confidence to boom, look at me now. If I finished a book about finances, I thought that I was the master of finances because I read a book. It doesn't work like this. I will tell you one thing. If you haven't read a book and if you are planning on starting books, focus on quality over quantity. Don't make no plans that, oh yeah, I'm gonna finish this book in a month. I'm gonna finish this book in a week. Don't do none of that. If that book takes you 3 months, that's okay. That's fully okay. There are some kind of books that you read one chapter and you gotta give that chapter like a week. When I used to read books back then, for example, I used to read How to Win Friends and Influence People. How to Win Friends and Influence People is not the type of book that you read once and you put it in a shelf. It's the type of book that you read every single day, but not the whole book, just one chapter. Let's say you want to become better at shit, I forgot about the book already. You read one chapter of the book and you apply it, okay? Reading itself, that's what I said. Reading itself doesn't make you better. It's the action that makes you better. So if you're reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, instead of trying to read it as fast as possible, read one chapter, stop right there. Apply it every single day. And if you need to, reread the chapter 5 times, 3 times, however many times you want to. But don't go to other parts of the books if you haven't applied as one lesson. And look, not a lot of people talk about this, because when I hear people talk about books on social media, they just talk about the numbers. They say, oh yeah, I've read 50 books in a year. It's not actually that impressive. Reading, sitting in your chair, drinking some tea, reading a book. Wow, it's so challenging, right? It's like the most pussy thing you can do. Respectfully. Reading books, I love reading books. I still have this urge to just sit down and read a bunch of books, okay? I love books. I want to read them as fast as possible, but I always hold myself back because I know if I actually want to grow, I gotta apply the lessons, not just read the book. Okay, so this part, I hope you understood it. Don't focus on the quantity of books, focus on the quality. Okay, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it's good to skim a book, because taking action and reading a book at a very slow pace that is not actually good, yeah, that's not a good thing. So I think you can skim a book, just read very fast. And if you think that it's a very good book, then start applying it in action. Now, let me talk about why I absolutely love books and why it's so crucial to read them at this current moment in our society, okay? First reason, I got some notes so I wouldn't go off track. In the times of social media, there are so many trends. There's so many trends. And the problem is that a lot of those trends are very short term. They just make you feel good, like with the whole manifestation stuff. Like, honestly, it's a bullshit. Like, I don't understand it. What you mean I can sit back, visualize, do nothing, and get a house? Like, bro, I'm still in the same house. I did visualize some mansion and I'm still here. It doesn't work like this. Now, what I love about books is that a lot of books hold time-tested wisdom. For example, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. It's a Stoicism book. Everybody knows this book. The book that was written by Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, is 1,850 years old. And people still use those principles to this day. I mean, bro, this fact alone should motivate you to read books. On social media, you can find anything. I can start preaching some dumbass stuff, make them very controversial, go viral, and a lot of people will think that I'm saying the truth. Social media is a very, I would say, bad place to take a lot of advice from. Okay, there's so many, like, anybody can post a YouTube video. You don't have to trust me what I'm saying. I can make this video in one day. So me personally, if I have some kind of problem, I'll really go to the books, especially the older books. Now everybody can write a book too, but books like Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, the Bible, the Four Agreements, like those books really hold up with time. The second thing, books really show a lot about who you are. Again, with social media, people are losing their authenticity. Everybody's trying to be like this and like this and like this. But when you actually read a book, you can relate the things that is said in a book to your own experiences, and you will get to know yourself way more, which is a crucial thing, okay? If you want to become a successful person, and I'm not talking from my own experience, I'm talking what I heard from a podcast where Alex Hormozy was on. Self-awareness is crucial to becoming successful in life, because when you know exactly why you act the way that you act, you can control your impulses and you can do the right thing for yourself. For example, I'm reading this book. It's in Lithuanian, but it's The Mountain Is You. It's a very popular book. To be honest, it's at first it really disappointed me, but the second and the third chapters are, I would say, pretty good. It really talks about analyzing your childhood and the needs that you have. It's hard for me to explain this book on the spot with no plan, but this book really made me look deeper into myself, and I realized there's so many things that I didn't know about myself. Like all these times that sometimes I do some kind of action and I don't even know why did I act the way that I act. Why did I have the impulses to act like this? And this book really explained a lot of the questions that I had. I would even say that this book is a very good starting book if you want to get into the self-development journey. But to be honest, this book is really uncomfortable because it kind of forces you to go to your dark places, if I can say that. If you have any insecurities or if you have any weaknesses or the stuff that you've been hiding from, this book forces you to just pull them to the surface, which is, for me, was a very uncomfortable thing. But I always use this quote: the only way to grow is to be uncomfortable. If there is no uncomfortable feeling, there is no growth. And that is my second reason. Books make you more self-aware, which make your life better. You know why you act the way you act. You can control your impulses better. My third reason, it makes life more fun. Honestly, let's say you read a book on on social skills. You can go out and test that book. Like honestly, when you read a book and then you like have this challenge to actually go out and try the principle. Because I'm telling you, if you feel like you don't like books, I felt exactly the same way. When I told you the story that I put this book down like 2 times, I just seen a book as some words on a paper. But once you actually experience one book, once you read that one book that you actually apply and you realize how beneficial it is, bro, you're gonna get addicted. I promise you. Now, let's talk about how to get the most out of your books. If you never read a single book in your life and you plan on reading it, this chapter is for you. First of all, if you plan on reading a book without a pen and a notebook, you might as well not read it. Passive reading brings you no actual value. A lot of people just take a book, for example, and they just read it. They just think reading is just the reading part. You just sit down and you read and you're gonna get better. Look, I would rather read 5 pages and actually examine those 5 pages and make those 5 pages actionable than read 30 pages and feel good. That's the thing. When you read a lot without actually writing something in a notebook, you feel like you are benefiting. You feel this good feeling, but it's not actually benefiting you. You know, the actual benefits come from active reading, when you take notes, when you journal about them, and you make them actionable, and you go and take action. Okay, so now I told you to start taking notes. Okay, don't read a book without taking notes. Now, the way you should take notes is not just copying quotes. What I used to do before is I used to just copy whatever I seen word for word. But that is actually not a good way to take notes. The best way to take notes is read a book, finish a chapter or finish a part of the book, close the book, take your notebook, and then you start journaling and writing down the ideas in your own words and relating them to your own experiences. That is how you also become more self-aware, as I told you. Whatever you read, you relate to your own experiences, and that makes you more self-aware. And look, another thing, don't try to make your notes like very pretty. You know, nobody's gonna look at them notes. If you have to make your notebook look messy, make it look messy. You know, nobody cares. Take notes not in a way to kind of feel good and make them look pretty with colors, and take notes in a way that will actually help you. Help you to get to know yourself, help you to make them more actionable. So yeah, I think I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. Another thing I want to tell you is I made a Discord community. So the link to my Discord community is going to be in the description and also in the comments. The first 15 people to join will get a special role. So imagine if 1,000 people will join my community in the future, the first 15 people who join my community will stand out. That sounds amazing, no? So click the link, join the Discord community, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and comment what are your thoughts. Hey, I'll see you in the next video, my boy.